Space is awful. I know, we usually talk about the majesty of the cosmos, the twinkling stars, and the infinite potential for exploration. We look up at the night sky and feel a sense of wonder and awe. We think about our ancestors crossing the plains, looking at the moon, and dreaming of what is on the other side of the hill. But let's be real for a second. If you actually look at the stats, space is actively trying to kill you. Here on Earth, we complain about traffic or the price of coffee. But astronauts in orbit have to worry about their bones dissolving because gravity decided to take a holiday, or getting zapped by radiation that cooks them from the inside out, and that is just in low Earth orbit. As you move further out, the neighborhood goes downhill fast. We are talking about worlds with poisonous atmospheres, stars that eat other stars, and regions of nothingness so vast they break the human mind. So, forget the wonder and the scientific intrigue for a moment. We are going to look at the things that make scientists wake up in a cold sweat. By the end of this, you are going to be very glad you are sitting on a comfortable couch on the only planet we know of that doesn't want you dead. Let's get started. Venus, we are starting right next door. Venus is often called Earth's twin because it is roughly the same size and mass. You might think a trip there would be like hopping on a ferry from England to France. Maybe you imagine a nice tropical getaway. You would be dead wrong. Literally. Venus is the prototype for a bad time. The atmosphere is almost entirely carbon dioxide, which has created a runaway greenhouse effect. The pressure on the surface is crushing, about 90 times that of Earth. Standing on Venus would feel like being a kilometer underwater, except instead of cool ocean water, you are breathing in an atmosphere that is hot enough to melt lead. The average temperature at ground level is 464 degrees Celsius. If the heat and pressure don't get you, the weather will. It rains sulfuric acid there, not water. Acid. The scariest part about Venus isn't just the hellish landscape, it is the history. Scientists think Venus might have once been just like Earth. It might have had oceans, blue skies, and a nice climate. Then global warming kicked the door down and took over. It is a planetary cautionary tale, sitting right next door, reminding us exactly what happens when a climate goes completely off the rails. Asteroids. Let's talk about rocks. Big, fast rocks. Asteroids are essentially giant lumps of debris left over from the formation of the solar system, and they whiz around at speeds that are hard to comprehend. We have mapped a lot of them, and most of them hang out in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, minding their own business, but not all of them stay there. We know exactly what happens when a big one decides to visit. 66 million years ago, an asteroid named Chicxulub, which was about 10 kilometers wide, slammed into Earth. It didn't just ruin the dinosaurs' weekend. It wiped them out entirely. It caused tsunamis, wildfires, and a nuclear winter that lasted for years. While we have gotten pretty good at spotting these city killers, space is big and rocks are dark. There is no law of physics preventing another massive rock from appearing out of the darkness in the next few decades with our address written on it. Meteor. If asteroids are the bullets, meteors are the shrapnel. These are smaller rocks, and while they are less likely to wipe out civilization, they are much harder to spot because of their size. They have less predictable orbits and can sneak up on us. Usually, we enjoy meteor showers like the Perseids or the Leonids. They are pretty fireworks. But sometimes they get too close for comfort. In 2013, over the Russian city of Chelyabinsk, a meteor exploded in the atmosphere. It didn't even hit the ground, but the shock wave blew out windows in thousands of buildings and injured over 1,000 people. 1 minute you're driving to work, the next minute the sky explodes. It is a reminder that we are shooting through a cosmic shooting gallery, and sometimes the targets hit back. The great red spot Jupiter is the king of the planets, and it wears a crown of terror called the Great Red Spot. From a distance, it looks like a cute little blemish on the planet's surface. But when you get up close, the scale is horrifying. This is a storm that is larger than the entire planet Earth. It has been raging for at least 350 years. Imagine a hurricane that started before the United States existed and hasn't stopped since. The winds inside this storm scream at over 430 kilometers per hour. If you were dropped into it, you wouldn't just be blown away. You would be torn apart by the sheer ferocity of the turbulence. It is a permanent, violent reminder that weather in space does not mess around. Black holes. You knew this one was coming. You cannot have a list of scary space things without the ultimate monster, the black hole. A black hole is a region of space where gravity is so intense that nothing, absolutely nothing, can escape it. Not even light. If you shine a flashlight into a black hole, the beam doesn't bounce back. It just falls in and dies. If you cross the boundary known as the event horizon, you are gone. History deletes you. But the process of dying is the really nasty part. It is called spaghettification. If you fell feet first into a black hole, the gravity at your feet would be so much stronger than the gravity at your head that you would be stretched out into a long, thin noodle of subatomic particles. To make it worse, astronomers now believe there is a supermassive black hole at the center of almost every galaxy, including ours, and some of them don't sit still. There are rogue black holes wandering through intergalactic space at speeds of over 100,000 miles per hour. They are invisible, silent sharks swimming through the dark, eating whatever they bump into. Space junk. Let's bring the terror a little closer to home. We are trapping ourselves in a cage of our own garbage. Space junk is the collection of dead satellites, spent rocket stages, and random debris we have left in orbit since the space age began. There are tens of thousands of objects larger than a smartphone flying around Earth, and millions of smaller flecks of paint and metal. In space, even a fleck of paint is dangerous because it is traveling at 17,000 miles per hour. If one of those hits a spacecraft, it hits with the force of a bullet. The nightmare scenario is called the Kessler syndrome. This is where one collision creates a cloud of debris, which causes more collisions, creating more debris until low Earth orbit becomes a blender of shrapnel. If that happens, we lose our satellites. No GPS, no global communications, no weather monitoring. We would be trapped on Earth, unable to launch rockets for generations. HD 189,773b. Astronomers give exoplanets really boring names. But HD 189,773b deserves a heavy metal nickname. It is a hot Jupiter located about 64 light years away. If you looked at it with human eyes, it would appear as a beautiful, deep blue marble, much like Earth. But do not be fooled by the ascetics. That blue color isn't from water. It comes from silicate particles in the atmosphere. The surface temperature is over 1,300 degrees Celsius, but the real kicker is the wind. The wind on this planet blows at 8,700 kilometers per hour. That is 7 times the speed of sound. Because the atmosphere is full of silicates, and the wind is so fast, it literally rains glass. And because the wind is blowing sideways at supersonic speeds, it rains glass sideways. If you visited this planet, you would be shredded by a horizontal storm of molten glass blades. Dark nebulae space is dark, but dark nebulae are darker. These are massive clouds of gas and dust that are so thick they block out all the starlight from behind them. When you look at the sky, they look like holes in the universe, silhouettes of nothingness. The Shark Nebula is a great example. These clouds look ominous, like giant brooding shadows hanging in the void. The scary part isn't necessarily the cloud itself, but the primal fear of the dark. We are hardwired to be afraid of what we can't see. When you look at a dark nebula, you have to wonder what is lurking behind that curtain. Supernova stars have light cycles. They are born, they live, and they die. But when a massive star dies, it doesn't just fade away quietly. It goes out with a bang. A supernova is an explosion so powerful that for a few weeks, a single dying star can outshine an entire galaxy of billions of stars. The energy released is if our sun went supernova, which it won't, it's too small. But let's pretend it wouldn't just burn Earth. It would vaporize the entire solar system in an instant. The shockwave destroys everything in its path. After the explosion, you are left with either a neutron star, a city-sized ball of matter so dense that a teaspoon of it weighs 1 billion tons, or a black hole. It is the ultimate cosmic violence. Dark matter and dark energy here is a fun fact that will keep you up at night. We have no idea what the universe is made of. When we tally up all the stars, planets, gas, dust, and people, that ordinary matter only accounts for about 5% of the universe. So, what is the other 95%? We call it dark matter and dark energy, which are basically fancy terms for we don't know. Dark matter makes up about 25%. We know it's there because we can see its gravity pulling on galaxies, holding them together when they should be flying apart. But we can't see it, touch it, or interact with it. It is a ghost glue holding the universe together. Then there is dark energy, which is about 70% of the universe. This is some mysterious force that is pushing the universe apart, making it expand faster and faster. We are literally drowning in an invisible ocean of stuff we don't understand. In 2017, something weird flew through our solar system. We named it Oumuamua, which is Hawaiian for scout. It was the first interstellar object we ever detected. It didn't come from our sun. It came from deep space. It was weird for a few reasons. It was shaped like a cigar, long and thin, which is very unusual for space rocks. It was tumbling end over end, and as it left the solar system, it accelerated slightly, as if something was pushing it. The scientific consensus is that it was a weird rock-venting gas, which acted like a thruster. But because it was so strange, we can't completely rule out the sci-fi explanation that it was an alien probe doing a drive-by. It is currently heading past Neptune, leaving us with more questions than answers. The WOW signal. Speaking of aliens, let's talk about the WOW signal. In 1977, astronomers at Ohio State University picked up a radio signal coming from the constellation Sagittarius. It lasted 72 seconds. It was loud, intense, and it was on a frequency of 1420 megahertz. Why does that frequency matter? Because that is the frequency of hydrogen, the most common element in the universe. Scientists had long theorized that if aliens wanted to say hello, They would use that frequency as a universal open channel. The astronomer who found it circled the data on the printout and wrote, "Wow," next to it. "We have listened to that spot in the sky for decades since then, but we have never heard it again. Was it a glitch? A secret spy satellite? Or did someone try to call us and we missed the call? Pioneer's golden plaques. We are sending our own signals out, too." In the 1970s, NASA launched the Pioneer 10 and 11 probes. They are heading out of the solar system into the deep void. Bolted to the side of these probes are gold plaques. These plaques act as a greeting card for any aliens that might find them. They have a map showing where our sun is located relative to pulsars, effectively giving directions to Earth. They also have drawings of a human man and a human woman, completely naked. So, to summarize, we sent nude photos of ourselves and a map to our house into the dark forest of the galaxy. If the aliens are friendly, that's great. If they are hungry, galactic conquerors, we just made their job a lot easier. It is a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off. Supervoids. If you think empty space is scary, wait until you hear about supervoids. The universe is structured like a web, with filaments of galaxies stringing together. But in between those filaments are voids. The boat's void is one of the most terrifying places in existence. It is a region of space nearly 330 million light-years across. It is huge. If you were in the middle of it, you wouldn't see any stars. It is just pitch black. If the Milky Way was in the center of the boat's void, we wouldn't have known other galaxies existed until the 1960s. It is a colossal sphere of nothing, just absolute, suffocating nothingness. It makes you realize how much of the universe is just empty, dead space. Untethered spacewalk. Let's zoom back to the human scale. Astronauts do spacewalks to fix things on the ISS. Usually, they are tethered to the station by a steel cable. It is their lifeline. If they slip, the cable catches them. But in 1984, Bruce McCandless, too, did the unthinkable. He performed an untethered spacewalk. He strapped on a jetpack called the Manned Maneuvering Unit and flew away from the space shuttle. There were no wires, no cables, no safety net, just him, a little gas thruster, and the infinite drop. The photos of him floating alone against the blackness of Earth and space are the definition of anxiety. If his thrusters had failed, he wouldn't have fallen down. He would have drifted away forever. He would have become a satellite, circling the Earth until his oxygen ran out. It is the ultimate trust exercise with technology. KELT-9b. We mentioned a hot planet earlier, but KELT-9b is the king of heat. It is the hottest gas giant ever discovered. It orbits a massive blue star that is blasting it with radiation. The surface temperature on KELT-9b is 4,300 degrees Celsius. That is hotter than the surface of many stars. It is so hot that molecules can't even hold together. They get ripped apart. The atmosphere contains vaporized iron and titanium. On Earth, we have air pollution. On KELT-9b, the air is heavy metal gas. It is a planet that is actively being boiled alive by its own sun. Vast radio bursts. Here is another mystery that haunts astronomers. Fast radio bursts, or FRBs. These are sudden, incredibly intense blasts of radio energy that come from deep space. They last only a few milliseconds, but in that fraction of a second, they release as much energy as our sun does in 3 days. We saw the first one in 2007. Since then, We have seen them popping off all over the sky. Some happen once and disappear. Others repeat like a clock. We have absolutely no idea what causes them. Is it colliding neutron stars? Is it a black hole burst? Is it an alien propulsion system? We don't know. We are just seeing these massive flashes of energy going off in the dark, and we are clueless as to the source. The Cone Nebula, some things in space are scary just because they look like monsters. The Cone Nebula is a pillar of gas and dust located about 2,700 light-years away. When you look at photos of it, it looks like a giant, shaggy beast rising out of a Red Sea. It looks like a demon or a dark wizard standing in the cosmos. It is 7 light-years long. To put that in perspective, that is 500 million times bigger than our solar system. It is actually a place where new stars are being born, which is a beautiful process. But visually, it looks like it wants to eat your soul. The Eye of God Nebula. If the Cone Nebula is a beast, the Helix Nebula is a watcher. It is a planetary nebula located in the constellation Aquarius. It is formed by a dying star shedding its outer layer. From our angle on Earth, we look right down the barrel of the tube of gas. It looks exactly like a giant blue and orange eye staring at us. It has been nicknamed the Eye of God or the Eye of Sauron. It is a chilling example of pareidolia, our brain's tendency to see faces in random patterns. But it is hard to shake the feeling that the universe is watching us back. White holes, we know about black holes. But general relativity also predicts the existence of their opposite. White holes. If a black hole is a place you can never leave, a white hole is a place you can never enter. It is a region of space that constantly spews out matter and light, but nothing can go inside. It is like a cosmic exhaust pipe. We have never seen one. It might be purely theoretical, but some scientists think they could be the other end of a black hole. Maybe when stuff falls into a black hole, it gets spat out of a white hole somewhere else in the universe, or in a different universe entirely. It is a mind-bending concept that challenges our understanding of reality. Coronal mass ejections. The sun is our friend. It gives us light, heat, and tans. But the sun is also a giant thermonuclear bomb that sometimes gets angry. A coronal mass ejection, or CME, is when the sun spits a massive cloud of magnetized plasma into space. It happens all the time. Usually, they miss Earth. But if a big one hits us, it is bad news. The magnetic storm interacts with Earth's magnetic field. In 1859, a massive CME called the Carrington event hit Earth. It made telegraph wires spark and catch fire. If an event that size hit us today, it would fry our power grids, destroy satellites, and kill the internet. We would be thrown back to the Stone Age in an afternoon. No GPS, no banking, no TikTok. Truly a nightmare scenario. Gamma ray bursts. If a CME is a slap in the face, a gamma ray burst is a sniper shot to the head. These are the most powerful explosions in the universe. They happen when a massive star collapses into a black hole or when neutron stars collide. They fire a focused beam of gamma radiation that is incredibly intense. If a GRB went off in our galaxy and the beam was pointed at Earth, it would strip away our ozone layer instantly. We would be cooked by UV radiation from the sun. Life on Earth would face a mass extinction. Some scientists think a GRB might have caused the Ordovician mass extinction 450 million years ago. The scary part is there is no warning. Since the beam travels at the speed of light, we wouldn't see it coming. We would just suddenly be toast. Rogue planets, we usually picture planets orbiting a star, like a family sitting around a campfire. But there are orphans out there. Rogue planets are worlds that have been kicked out of their solar systems. They drift through the cold darkness of interstellar space, completely alone. They are frozen, dark worlds. Scientists estimate there could be billions of them in the Milky Way alone. They are just drifting in the void. What is terrifying is the thought of what it would be like to stand on one. No sun, no day or night, just eternal starlight and crippling cold. And theoretically, a rogue planet could drift into our solar system and mess up our orbits, though the odds are low. Cannibal galaxies are majestic, but they are also violent. They grow by eating each other. This is called galactic cannibalism. Large galaxies use their gravity to rip apart smaller dwarf galaxies and absorb their stars. Our own Milky Way is currently eating a few small galaxies right now, but the tables will turn. The Andromeda Galaxy is our big neighbor. It is heading right for us. In about 4 billion years, Andromeda and the Milky Way will collide. It won't be a quick crash. It will be a slow, cosmic dance of destruction that will merge the two into one giant elliptical galaxy. It is a slow-motion car crash on a galactic scale. Vampire stars in binary star systems, where two stars orbit each other, things can get toxic. If one star is dense and the other is bloated, the smaller star can start stripping gas off its partner. It literally sucks the life out of the other star to fuel itself. These are called vampires' stars. The vampire grows massive and youthful-looking by feeding on its companion, leaving the victim as a shriveled white dwarf. It is a celestial relationship drama that ends in tragedy. Comet C 2014-271. Comets are usually small, dirty snowballs. But Comet Bernardi-Nelly-Bernstein, discovered recently, is a monster. It is the biggest comet ever seen, measuring about 85 miles across. It is 12 times larger than Halley's Comet. It is an ice mountain, the size of a mountain range flying through space. It is currently heading toward the sun. The good news is it will stop just outside the orbit of Saturn in 2031, so it won't hit us. But it is a reminder that there are gargantuan things lurking in the Oort cloud at the edge of the solar system. The great attractor, if you look at how galaxies move. Everything in our corner of the universe is being pulled toward a specific point. We call it the Great Attractor. It is a gravitational anomaly located about 250 million light-years away. It has the mass of a quadrillion suns. The problem is, we can't see what it is because it is hidden behind the zone of avoidance, which is basically the thick dust of our own Milky Way galaxy blocking the view. Something massive is reeling us in like a fish on a line, and we don't know what it is. The good news is the universe is expanding so fast that we will probably never reach it. But the mystery remains. Dead galaxies next. We have dead galaxies. These aren't full of ghosts, but they are full of sadness. A dead galaxy is one that has stopped making new stars. It has run out of gas, or the gas has become too hot to collapse into stars. They are just fading away. The existing stars will burn out one by one until the galaxy becomes dark. It is a glimpse into the far future of the entire universe, a time when the lights go out and the party is over. Cosmic rays. Let's end with something that is hitting you right now. Cosmic rays. These are Hinagi atomic nuclei blasting through space at nearly the speed of light. They come from supernova and black holes. On Earth, our atmosphere protects us from most of them. But in space, they are a major killer. They tear through DNA like microscopic bullets. They are the biggest hurdle for getting humans to Mars. If we send people to Mars, we have to figure out how to stop their brains from being swished by cosmic radiation. It is an invisible enemy that is everywhere, all the time. So, there you have it. The universe is full of acid rain, crushing gravity, invisible monsters, and giant explosions. It is a hostile, violent, terrifying place. If you enjoyed this Terra Tour, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Stay safe and watch out for falling asteroids.